Hello there. Welcome to this, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Bus Taste Challenge, 5:35 a.m. Central Standard Time, Sunday morning, January, what this is, 17, 2021. I got one hand in my pocket and the other one is making a peace sign. Clan MacGregor blended scotch whiskey, aged 3 long years, which is the minimum. Introduced in 1934, bottled in New Jersey. It is a William Grant and Sons brand, a family-owned company, the Grant family. Are they related to Ulysses S. Grant? I have no idea. Are they related to Amy Grant? I have no idea. They're probably related to Lou Grant. Now, what is an essay on the back? I'm not reading this essay, but it's age 3 years. I know it's age 3. It says right there. Well, it says somewhere age 3 years. Oh, on the website or something. A blend of our finest malt. Well, yeah, maybe it's Glenfiddich they're using single malt, but they have like about 50 different single malt companies, seem like. I mean, you know, exaggerating, and grain whiskeys. People flip out when you say grain whiskey, like a vampire saw a crucifix. Complete, sweet, and mellow flavor in the OUR British Empire sense. OUR. It's a beautiful label with some red highlights. A lion of Scotland wearing a crown because he lives in the what? Kingdom of Scotland. Royal is my race. That's the motto. Royal is my race. So he is a monarchist. The lion is a monarchist. He supports the monarch. All right. And I think they're implying without, well, I was going to talk about this House of Stuart, Stuart, and the King James II of the House of Stuart, the Catholic King of Scotland. But that's another story for another time. Like the Grateful Dead said, another time, another place. Dewar's blended Scotch whiskey, illegal and smooth. Now, like I said, when these people flip out and start fronting on single malt and like they're insane Jane and everything, I was like, I don't say, you know, accuse them. I'm not accusatory, but I say, I don't think you understand what grain whiskey is, and I think you really understand what Scotch is. And they'd be like, that's not a real Scotch. And I'm like, okay, I can't talk to you because you don't listen. You just ramble on like Led Zeppelin. All right. 8 years. Age 8 years. What does that mean? That means the youngest whiskey in this blend is 8 years old. Could there be 28-year-old whiskey in here? Yeah, there could be 128-year-old whiskey in here. It's a blend. I don't know how many whiskeys are in the blend. They might have said, I can't remember everything. Although I can name every country in Africa without notes on a map. You said, well, it's a trivial thing to do. I know, it's just an example of that. I can remember things. I try to tell people that, remember that. I was telling somebody that at work last week. He said, you remember everything. I said, I remember everything that is said or done or thought at this job. I said, now you think about that. So last week I was wound up like a top. Well, it makes sense because there was all kind of crazy stuff going on. You know, where I work, there's all kind of craziness. So when there's craziness going on, it'll make you crazy. Like that Jefferson Starship song from 1974. They'll run you crazy. That's what the song said. They'll run you crazy if you let them. See, that's the point of the song. If you let them. I wasn't intending to let them do it. You dig? Now, I know I start talking all kind of like basic when I get agitated because it's adrenaline. You know, you get adrenaline rush. I had that all week. So usually I'm trying to speak erudite, you know, in elaboration and say, oh, yes, the intricate character of the duplicity, male factor, exploding plastic, inevitable, dreidel. But then you say he's crazy, it's word salad. Well, I mean, it's by design. You understand? It's word salad by design. So this last week, I said, I know by Friday, what you say, Sunday. I know by Sunday I'll be calm, you know. I was really calm during the storm. I just said, I'm like the eye of the hurricane. I can trust myself all in doubt. So, but the problem was, is like people were coming at me and asking me, what happened? They want an immediate answer. And I said, well, that's a long story. Oh, okay. Well, what happened? So I'm thinking, you don't want to hear the story, but I told you of a lot of trouble, which was manageable. You know, it's like in the movie Scarface, what happened? And then Tony tells Manny, he said, nothing we can't handle. So he's telling you, nothing we can't handle. Now, I'm not going to give you a long lecture because we've got stuff to do. It's, you know, why you not here yet? That's what he told him. Why you not here yet? He's on the phone with him. Why you not here yet? That implies we're in a rush. Get over here. Come on. I'm not going to sit there and give you an essay on what happened. I can tell you later at leisure. So that's what happened this week. People asking me, like, what happened? And then when I did have time to talk, I'll start telling them what happened. And they're like, oh, this is a long, drawn out story. I said, I told you that at the beginning. I prefaced it with the preface. It is a long, drawn out story that I'm sure you're not interested in hearing. And furthermore, I'm not particularly interested in telling it. So they got the point. And my friend David told me yesterday when he came over, he said, man, you when you tell a story like that, they're going to think you crazy. I said, that's what I want them to think. He said, you're right. He says, he realized, he said, right, that way they won't call you and ask you what happened. I said, exactly. I said, you know, it's an act, but for purposes, for, you know, particular purposes, namely for people not to call me and ask me to answer long drawn out questions to which I'm not interested in answering. And I'm already like, I'm telling them I'm wound up because something happened. It's like, you just got back from Vietnam and people are rushing you like, what happened? What happened? It's like, I don't want to really talk about it right now. You know, I'm like shook up. My nerves is bad from, I was in Vietnam for 13 months. You know, what happened? What did you see? What happened? What did you see? And then you tell them and they're like, oh, you got affected by the war. Well, A, I was there 13 months. B, it was a war. C, I just told you my nerves were bad. And over time, I could explain it to you, you know. Taxi driver, perfect example. You say, look at him. He's riding around in a taxi. He can't sleep at night. He's just kind of like staring ahead. I know, because the movie was, the set of the movie was 1975. Came out in 76, but it's showing, okay, 1975. Here's Travis Bickle. If you pay attention to the movie, which most people don't pay attention to much of anything, they because they're on their phones, you know, their smartphones, like all day. They're in a rush. I said, your whole life's going to rush by. You're going to look up one day and be 95 and you're going to say, what did I do? I said, you just was looking at your phone. So I was looking around. Like I go to football games. I watch the game. Nobody else does. So Travis was like vexed, not in his spirit necessarily. He was vexed by what he was, you know, seeing. Like he saw terrible things in Vietnam, obviously. He was in, because the guy, if you watch the movie carefully, he asks him, were you in the service? And he said, yeah, I was in the Marines. And that's when Joe Spinell said, the Marines, I was in the Marines. And he tells him I was in Vietnam. I got back in March 73. But if you know anything about history, that's a very important date to say March 73. He didn't say March, you know, 75. Well, it wouldn't have mattered, you know, it wouldn't have mattered what March it would have been, because anything between 1945 and 1975, if you had been there, you probably would have come back like stirred up in your mind. Now, my grandma's brother, Uncle John, he was in Vietnam in 1970 as a colonel, you understand, a colonel in the Air Force. When he was in the United States Army Air Force in 1945, he was flying a B-17 over Germany. He had a different task to take care of, you understand. Well, he wasn't shook up and like, you know what I'm saying, nerve-wracked when he got back from Vietnam in 1970, because I asked him, I said, well, what were you doing over there? He said, oh, I was just working on maps. I didn't have to ask what about. He wasn't working on road maps about how to get to Saigon Taco Bell, you know. So I said, what'd you think about Vietnam? He said, I liked it because I lived in Saigon for a year, and I was down the street from this really good steakhouse, and I would walk there every night and go eat steak. Yeah, he was deaf because he was by those loud airplane engines from 1942 to 82, you know, when he retired from, what was it, Eastern Airlines or American Airlines or something like that. So that was his Vietnam experience. Going, working on maps in an office in Saigon, and walking down the street to eat steak at a steakhouse. He was a colonel, he was an officer, you know, he wasn't on the battlefield, so he was in a battle zone because you never knew if the Viet Cong was going to set off a bomb right by him. But he had been in World War II, and he wasn't too concerned about bombs going off. You know, he said, well, I'm used to that. So so when he got back, he didn't have to detune. He was like, relax. Eating at a steakhouse and working on maps is not like, you know, nerve-wracking. Now, when he went back to Vietnam, he told me nobody else ever paid attention to him much. They just be talking, you know. He says, well, when I got back from Vietnam, I went back a year later, 71, and I was flying for a private company. I said, yeah. Well, I was only a teenager when he's telling me this, so he figures I don't know too much. I said, yeah, what was the company? He said, Air America. And it stopped me cold like I saw a ghost. I said, Air America. He said, yeah, you know, we was in Vietnam, we was in Laos, we was flying in Cambodia and whatnot. I said, Uncle John, what were you doing with Air America? Like, what were y'all doing? He said, I can't talk about that. I'm not at liberty to discuss that. Well, that's all he had to say, because then I had my answer, and I was like, okay. Now, I knew other people came back from Vietnam, their nerves was wrecked. Like, my friend Johnny's daddy. Of course, I don't want to talk about this too much. Of course, his nerves were wrecked. His leg was missing. One of his legs was missing. Of course, he had a nervous, like, problem. And that's what we learned in psychology class. There's stress. You're going to have stress. Now, that's a given. This is not the Garden of Eden. This is the result of people not doing the right thing in the Garden of Eden. And so, you see, looking at the clock, I'm about to do the challenge. I'm just prefacing what was going on the last week. I knew I had planned it out, like next, you know, a week ago Sunday, I'm going to do this expose on the web of deceit and how I had been making people think things for 24 years. Not by lying, I never lied, just by using oblique speech and them not ever bothering to ask, which I would have answered. So, when you get stressed, there's two types of response to it. You can have distress, or over here, eustress, the other finger, eustress. EU meaning good, dis meaning bad. So distress means you get stressed out and you do bad things, such as start drinking alcohol like crazy, smoking innumerable cigarettes, hurting yourself, developing anxiety disorders such as anorexia nervosa and bulimia, or whatever you want to, bring up. So that was a common problem with people in Vietnam, Iraq, whatever, Afghanistan, like today, coming back today from Afghanistan. They're a nervous wreck. That makes sense. And that's distress, taking stress and using it in a bad manner. Eustress is taking stress and using it in a productive manner, like I did this past week. Made some changes at work. It's going to be very good. Secondly, making some changes with Wild Card Wednesday and whatnot. That's going to be very good. That's eustress, using stress in a productive manner. And then my mind was wound up, which is good because I'm always thinking. And then I said, oh, since I'm already flushed with energy, and then I was able to sleep so good last night. I was able to sleep so well Thursday night. Other nights I couldn't because people were waking me up. Motorbikes Thursday night. Oh, I'm sorry, Friday night. And oh yeah, things on my mind Wednesday resultant from the Storm and Fury week. But I made some great ideas for Wild Card Wednesday. I'm putting Wild Card Wednesday to death, so to speak, at the end of this month. And I have so many ideas for next month. I'll tell you real fast and we do the challenge. Wheat beers. I'm just going. So I'm counting the weeks. 3rd, 10th, 17th, 24th. Wheat beers, Bigfoot, Tonya, and Schlitz company products. It's going to be great. It's going to be interesting. Again, people are going to watch and be like, I can relate to it now, you know. All right. What's my prediction on this taste challenge? Well, frankly, I think it's going to be tougher than I first assumed. I got fixed up yesterday, and I deserved it with Grants. Thinking bad things about Grants. I mean, it's only been around since 1887. What do they know about Scotch, right? You know, that kind of thing. And what is an impediment to problem solving? We've learned an impediment to problem solving is overconfidence. Like I said at work last week, we got a problem. Now they're thinking, I mean, it's an unsolvable problem. And I told my boss, one of the bosses, I said, no, problems can be solved. You just do like in Apollo 13, you work the problem. You work the problem. All right. So that was overconfidence. And I got burned and I deserved it. And I don't know enough about illegal anyway. I've only drank it 3 times, you know, tasted it. So now you would assume by the 5th time, the 6th, deep into next week, I'm going to have it nailed, just like I did the Chivas Mitsunara, because I knew that honey top white bread crust. And David told me yesterday, you're talking fast. I said, of course I'm talking fast because I know you're going to leave at 3. You're going to want to leave. You just got here at 1. I know this. You're going to be looking at your phone half the time. And which is what everybody does. So it doesn't even strike me as unusual. It's just aggravating, but it's not unusual. It is usual. And then you're going to want to talk a long time about each beer, which is what I want to do. So I'm figuring we're doing 4 beer reviews, say 15 minutes of review. So that's an hour. So I say we have a time restriction issue here. So all the things you want to discuss preparatory to the video, we got to get through it or we don't get to the video. And that's why on Wild Card Wednesday, my friend called me. First thing he says, what's going on? A different friend, what's going on? I said, I'm about to do Wild Card Wednesday. Now that should be a cue to someone. About to do Wild Card Wednesday. I call, this is me. If I call and someone tells me that, I'm going to say, all right, I understand. I'm going to talk to you later. Go ahead and set it up. Not, well, how about these 16 different things? It's like, well, here we go. I'm not a rude person. I have to learn to be rude in a contextual manner. Rude as per the situation, not rude in general. You understand? All right. So I think the mezcal is going to shine forth. But on the other hand, Clan MacGregor has an insidious way of shining forth, meaning it's smokier than you would believe. And the Dewar's mezcal has a little twang to it. So I got to think for the twang. I got to listen for the silent E. You see what I'm saying? I have to listen for the silent E and see if I can hear it. The color's the same, you know, gold and gold. So that's not really a problem. But in case it's not, I want to make sure I'm not looking at it. All right. In the main, it's and I know I got to hit up against 6 minutes now. The news, I do not want to miss the news. In the main, it's grain, cereal grain, like a box of cereal. with a little twang to it, a strange little twangy thing, which in malt liquor world, like Magnum malt liquor and Old English, you have that little twist to it. And I think that's making it the mezcal, illegal mezcal. Haven't tasted it yet. Now over here, oh, you say, what's the single malt in Clan MacGregor? I think it's Glenfiddich. Yes. 12-year age, you know that. Glenfiddich 12. It's got a little smokiness, little, just not much. Now, when I first tried Clan MacGregor at my daughter's house 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I thought it was sometime back in that time period. I thought that her glasses were smelling like old wood. I said, did you leave these glasses in an old cabinet, like an old, antique wood cabinet from an old house? She said, no, I wash them. But I didn't understand that it was the scotch that smelled like old wood. You know what I mean? Old, well, it makes sense, right? It's aged in old wood. So it was slightly smoky and it had that compost smell, that peaty compost smell, like old dirt, which is what the peat smoke is from. So I didn't hate it. I was just confused by it. Like people were telling me all the time, don't drink scotch, you're going to hate it. This is what I always got from people. I was like, well, why it sells all the time? Obviously, some people like it. I never had it, and then they would tell me it's going to taste like smoked meat or something. I said, well, I always eaten smoked meat. It seemed like something I would want to drink. So, and then I started tasting it. And then I realized through learning, some people are deadly opposed to, that there's not just one type of scotch, just like with bourbon, there's not just one type of bourbon. Okay. So it's really a multiplicity of flavors and aromas and bodies and mouthfeels and finishing and everything. I said I knew it was going to be more of an adventure. Four minutes. Now, the Dewar said on the website it's slightly smoky. It is. And it has that touch of an unusuality about it, which I estimate is the mezcal. And now you might jump up and say, what do you know about mezcal? You ever had it? I'm saying, no, I never had. I never tried mezcal, which is leading me to think that this is it because it has an unusual flavor to which I'm unfamiliar. You get it? It has an unusual flavor to which I'm unfamiliar, which I deduce is the mezcal. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, then tough. I shouldn't have done a live taste check. I shouldn't have done a live taste challenge if I'm worrying about being wrong. But there's one little thing. I'm not worrying about being wrong. I know that's the Clan MacGregor because it got that Glenfiddich smokiness. It's just like a vial of smoke, the cold gin or the Figaro liquid smoke. That's all it. Liquid smoke. That's all it is in the flavor, but it's not that. It's similar to that. Okay. Well, now which one do I think is better? Price wise, Clan MacGregor is about $10. The illegal mezcal, Dewar's illegal mezcal, is about $20. So is the Dewar's illegal mezcal $10 better than the Clan MacGregor? Obviously not. It's better, maybe. But honestly, the quality level, it's the same. It's the same. I can't say it's better. I can't say that. They're both nice. They both have their own little peculiarities and all of that. Peculiarities. Oh, it's smooth. See, that's the thing that threw me off yesterday. I forgot about the smoothness part. It is so smooth. It's like a smooth criminal. It is illegal. It's a smooth criminal. I just got hit with a smooth criminal. Yeah. And yeah, I love to smoke. It's a tie, man. Really, it's a tie. Or woman, really, it's a tie. Amen. A woman, it's a tie. So I don't prefer. You say, which one do you prefer? I prefer both. I prefer both. But can I tell them apart? I'm about to find out. I think this is the Dewars. If it says D, I'm right. If it doesn't say D, I'm wrong. And I can live with that because I'm going to keep practicing every morning. I'm going to keep practicing. You say, I don't want to watch you practice every morning. Well, yeah, you're not under any compulsion to watch. Okay. Oh, no. It says, this says Dewars. Oh, well, I got a lot of practicing to do. So it's smokier than I had first believed. Not to mention that it is smooth, and this one's smooth. So what do? You got two smooth whiskeys, both got smoke, both are not too grainy. They got obviously a lot of single malt in them. One is Glenfiddich, the other one is the what's the Dewar single malt? Glenlivet. Yeah. So then, it's going to confuse you because they're very comparable. They're very comparable. The only difference is the price. And so by virtue of that, MacGregor is the clear winner because it's $10 cheaper. Sorry, Dewars. I hate to break your heart, but that's the way it goes. Heading west. Thank you all very much and have a very nice morning. See you later.